there. Cool. Yeah. Monday night, Northwest Arkansas BMX podcast, show number 27. Oh, it's going to be a wonderful night. A lot of cool stuff going on over the weekend. A lot of cool and crappy stuff out of Porta Potty 9. Or was that Porta Potty 6? So here we go. Monday night special. Want to give a good shout out to all of our good supporters. All of our good supporters. Beer Budget BMX. Mike, Melvin, and Rick Carter over there. Awesome podcast. Sunday nights. All Things BMX. Justin Tompkins, Chris Spears, Helena. And, of course, you can't forget Going Rogue with Dan and Donnell on Monday nights. But, of course, that changes this week. So we'll get to that later on in the show. Of course, I've been banned from saying this, but I'm going to say it anyways. Coming from the BMX Breakthrough crew. Of course, I'm on that crew now, but you have Jay Oaks with the podcast over there, and he's getting ready to cook up some stuff over there. It's going to be awesome for the season. I think it's going into season 3 with this year. Of course, Jones Center for Families, awesome place to train, awesome place to be if you love ice skating, swimming, or playing basketball, track. That's the place to be. Of course, you have the Runway Bike Park with them, and then that's the best place to train for bump track. NWA BMX, we're going to have our track by the end of summer. Hopefully, we'll be groundbreaking in the next 2.5 weeks. Hopefully, we break ground at Bentonville Bike Fest. That would be awesome. Of course, the sponsor of our show, Feed the Flock 365. If you live in Arkansas, have an event, you need a food vendor, check them out. They have a really good menu. A lot of grilled cheese sandwiches, different kinds. Check them out. And of course, the awesome crew from the AOS Squared with Cord Bierman and Charles Bierman. They had a heck of a weekend over the weekend there at CoopFest. So, like I said, welcome to show number 27, Northwest Arkansas BMX podcast. Want to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day. Hope you guys had a great weekend. If you went racing at Music City Nationals, CoopFest, any kind of state races, local races going on, I bet you guys had a great time. So, first and foremost, how did everybody do this weekend that went out racing? Welcome to the chat, Dan and Justin Tompkins from All Things BMX and Going Rogue. Coming back from Oklahoma. Man, I just got back last night from Oklahoma. Double racing. Man, I know there's some people that went to CoopFest and over in Stillwater. That was awesome. And of course, a lot of people went to Music City Nationals. They had an interesting time over there. But we'll get to Nashville a little bit later in the show. But want to start this show off of, well, of course, the hotline is on. So if you want to call in, you have something cool going on, you have some kind of opinion to bring into the show topics, the call in hotline is live. All you have to do is go to the Facebook Messenger app, then go select our Facebook Messenger on the show and hit the call in button. All right. The Minute Van Crew. Man, Dan, I was working. I got that image. Dude, I couldn't stop laughing. You made my day. Man, we all talked about it. You made it happen. And man, fantastic job, my friend. Fantastic job. All right, we're going to get straight to the point. I've been promoting CoopFest for the last, since October, November, when it was first announced for this year. And I've been advertising it for it ever since. CoopFest was this past weekend, and things got interesting. Yeah, so okay. Donnell, great job for the minivan picture. Fantastic job. Of course, all the district moms riding in the back, all the district moms cheering the little minivan that could with all the podcast crew. Yeah, don't care, Justin. But anyways, yeah, CoopFest, man. That it was fun, but it got interesting towards the end of the day. But hey, it is what it is. What's going on there? Of course, if you guys don't know what CoopFest is, CoopFest is basically like Oklahoma's version of Dirty Fest or Frogtown. It's your old 70s, 80s BMX track downhill. Of course, there's a lot of cool stuff. I think it's steeper than Dirty Fest. I'm at the elevation wise, the track is steeper than Dirty Fest. Hey, don't care, Rick. But yeah, it's a cool event that they put on every year. Of course, the guy that owns the land owns the track. His name's Guy Cooper. Awesome guy, well known motocross rider across the country. He's raced in several countries throughout the years, and he has, of course, three different warehouses, and they are nothing but a BMX and motorcycle museum. Which, if you go to CoopFest or you go and you're around the Stillwater area and you want to go check it out, hit Guy Cooper up. Man, those warehouses are just full of BMX gold. And holy cow, every time I go in there into the museum, I'm looking at these different bikes that's been around for years. And of course, there was some of the Arkansas crew that never got to see it last year, and they got to see it this year, and they couldn't believe what they were seeing. But yeah, Guy Cooper is an amazing person. His wife Wanda, they put on a great show there at CoopFest. Of course, all the volunteers that's out there that helps put it on, sponsors. Great place to be for a full weekend. Of course, got there Friday night. As soon as I got off work, headed straight to Stillwater. Had enough time to get my bike off my car. helmet and then try out the track. Got got out my race cruiser and holy cow, I really enjoyed the track. It's all downhill. Of course, you have the starting gate is the starting gate from the 1982 Grand ABA Grand Nationals in Oklahoma City, which man, that thing is old, antique, and it's really cool. Yes. Yes, we are getting a new track here in Northwest Arkansas, hopefully by the end of summer. Of course, USA BMX is supposed to be making an announcement at Bentonville Bike Fest. We've already made that announcement last year, so I don't know. Ah, yeah, yeah. I got a tan out CoopFest. Man, the weather played a big part in CoopFest this year. Last year, that wasn't the case. This year, it was a huge deal. Of course, not only CoopFest was affected, but of course, Music City Nationals over there in Nashville, Tennessee. But of course, it rained early that morning. I think it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and it cleared out by 7, dried up by 10 o'clock. We had a 11 o'clock, yeah, 11 o'clock practice for about a good 30, 35 minutes, and then it was race time. And like it was on. But of course, the track was a little soft. They had to wait for it to kind of dry up at one little spot down on the bottom half of the track. But man, it set everything up for a really cool, interesting day full of action packed vintage racing, all from the 70s monoshocks to the 80s bikes to the pit bikes to the side hacks to even the modern bikes. Yeah, there was a modern bike class, which, yeah, that was kind of interesting how they told everyone they weren't going to have a modern bike class because of the vintage race. And then all of a sudden they just turn around a few minutes later and they put it on. Don't understand that, but hey, I'm not the host of the race. Of course, that's not Guy Cooper's call. He's just putting half of the race on. But yeah, of course, CoopFest is not just only the vintage racing. They also put on the vintage bike show there, which it never it never ceased to amaze me that a lot of older bikes shows up, even though there's like a museum just feet away full of vintage BMX bikes. Guys from West Coast, um, North, well, the northern states, southern states, all around the country. They show up at Coot Fest with their cool bikes. I've ran into a few guys that showed up at my bike fest or my bike show last October. And man, it was good to see those guys. Got to promote my bike show coming soon in October at the Jones Center. And yeah, it was all fun. It was fun getting to see all the old bikes. Of course, the race was awesome. So they started off the day. Moto number one, round number one, with the classic side hack action pack going down the Coop Fest 6 track. And man, what a fun time. What a fun time we had. We came out of the gate. S Square got a little squirrely out of the gate. Chicken Wing came out of the gate a little sideways. Torker, of course, they're going to be standing tall out front. Of course, me and my monkey, we were like right there behind Torker, holding our ground against S Squared. We were sitting right behind Torker all the way down the track. So that put us in the second place. Torker in the first, S Squared in the third, and of course, Chicken Wing in the last fourth spot. We only had 4 hacks, which was incredible compared to last year. Oh, podcast exhibition race going down at Dirty Fest. I wish I could make it out to Dirty Fest this year. Unfortunately, I won't be able to. Uh, Hopefully, at some point in time, I'll get out there. No, it was actually Charles and Caleb Strecker, Samuel Strecker's older brother, for the AOS squared squad. And I'd say we've been racing them. Of course, we're rivals in the state of Arkansas. We're rivals in the state of Oklahoma with Torker. And whenever somebody says anything about the side hacks in the Midwest, they talk about Torker. They talk about the Oklahoma Outlaws. They talk about the AOS squared team. You know, so like we're the big three side hack teams out here in the Midwest. Of course, you have Gretna down there in Louisiana. They're fast. They're faster than Torker, but the well-known teams are up here in Arkansas, Oklahoma area. Yeah, Torker's tough to beat. That's why we love racing them. We have a great time each and every time we race them. Heck, I even had my GoPro on this year and follow them down the track, racing. Man, it was tight racing all the way down from the start to the finish. Man, it was fun altogether. Of course, round two side hacks, everything changed. Everything changed. Every round for any race, it seems to change. Like, okay, Torker, of course, no one's going to be Torker down the hill. But there was changing positions all the way around for the other three teams. Esquire was leading down the hill in second place. Chicken Wing right there right behind them. And right there, right next to him was us. And then, of course, right at the last turn, right before the finish line, just feet away from the finish line, here comes Chicken Wing swinging right at and getting in front of S squared. And wow, dude, you could hear my reaction on the GoPro footage where I'm like, whoa, that just happened. But yeah, it was amazing. And of course, this is where it got tense because, of course, Torker's standing tall in first place. No one's going to beat him. And then, of course, you have the three other teams to think about: Chicken Wing, Oklahoma Outlaws, and AOS Squared. There was a three-way tie for side hack at CoopFest. That's the first time in the history books of CoopFest that's ever happened. But of course, everyone's like, okay, cool. We get the main event. We're going to mix it up. Whoever gets second, third, fourth, that's their place for the main event. And holy cow. So yeah, it was just, we got up there. Of course, I told the announcer, one of the guys that runs the show, that runs the event, National Hall of Famer and everything. And I was like, hey, here's the good news. Like, this is something that you can announce, but I calculated the points for each team. Of course, I'm thinking about the points all day long. Like, so if we have a shot at getting a second place, third place, or ended up in last place, hey, at least we have a shot. Well, when he announced that, he's like, the points are unofficial, but we heard that there's a three-way tie. So whoever got what place in second round is what you get. I'm like, really? So we don't get a main event. We don't get a main event at CoopFest. I understand the weather. It was impacting the practice time, the race time, but I understand it. It was a two moto total point race. But if we have a tie, then we should get a main event. That's my opinion. We should have got a main event. And not just my team was disappointed. AOS Square was disappointed. Even Torker was disappointed that we didn't get a main event to settle the score. It feels like it was a unofficial, unfinished side hack race. But yeah, so it was crazy to me that we didn't have a main event for side hack to break the tiebreaker. A three-way tie, guys. You don't get that kind of racing at any other track across the country. A three-way tie in a side hack race. Yeah. But of course, it is what it is. We got something to we got a few guys talking about what's going to happen for next year for side hack, this year for the rest of the year. So stay tuned for that big announcement here in a couple weeks. Of course, I'm putting it all together. We're going to have a side hack championship series instead of the Heatwave series. Of course, the Torker boys are working on their 50th anniversary of Torker. They're pretty busy. So it's time for all the side hackers in the Midwest to get together, put on the show, and it's going to be fun. I mean, CoopFest is one of those tracks where we just had a blast all together with the track. But yeah, man. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks that we didn't get to break that tie, but oh well. I know there's going to be, I don't think Square might be showing up next time the way that, everyone kind of got screwed out of the whole main event thing. I mean, we had plenty of time. They were running the motos real quick. But pushing past the side hack stuff, of course, I raced the pit bike class with, of course, Guy Cooper. I got to race him again, race him last year. He beat me by a long shot on the 16-inch pit bike. Of course, Kevin, I think I forgot his last name, but he races for Redline. He's part of the Redline crew over at Rob Lane. And then, yeah. So that was an amazing race. First round, we were right there. We were all together. Of course, there was a little kid riding a little pit bike. Man, it was so fun. Of course, round two, it even got intense because we were all right there. Redline guy and Guy Cooper, they were side by side coming out of turn number one, up and over the roller into a step up on a table. They hit that table, and guys, I was like bike and a half bike length behind both of them. They jumped that tabletop at the same time, and holy cow, they pretty much jumped. And as they jumped, they collided and went down. And I was trying to pull brake as best as I could. Of course, I couldn't brake. I couldn't really brake that well, so I ended up hitting Guy Cooper. And there's a picture out there that of me just absolutely running Guy Cooper over with the pit bike, and he ended up with a black eye. But of course, Sportsman comes out when I need it the most. helped him up, gave him a big hug, say, "Hey, let's go finish this race off." So, man, he took last, of course, but I walked away with a third place. That's a pretty cool thing to get. I mean, last year I raced pit bike, side hack, got okay trophies. I was not too happy with them, but these trophies right here are pretty cool. Oh man. Trust me, I got more crap out of that race than I ever had at any other race. And of course, I'm just, I'm just trying to blow off steam from the side hack deal, sitting over there in my car. And of course, I get up, I just started walking around by my car. Guy Cooper and his wife, who comes out of his house, guy just points at me and says, "He did it. He's the one that gave me a black eye." His wife looks at me, shoves Guy towards me. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but please, please don't fight me." When in doubt, wreck the other guy. Well, I had no choice. I had no room to do anything. Like, I wish I had GoPro footage for that wreck, man. But luckily, we were all fine. We did our best. We went out there and raced. Of course, the like I said, AOS Squares crew is out there. Charles Bierman, Caleb Stracker. Caleb Stracker decided, hey, I'm gonna go race the vintage bike race. So of course he was racing me. He won that race by a long shot. And dude, that guy has always been real quick. So, but yeah, uh, side hack race at Cargill Park, BMX in Shreveport. That's at the end of next month. So if you guys want to race side hack, go out there, have some fun. June 27th, like I said, Cargill Park BMX. Going Rogue is putting it on out there. And yeah, I think how much is the purse now? I thought it kind of went up, but I think it's like double the original cash purse. Mm. But yeah, man, Guy Cooper was uh he was awesome. I checked on him throughout the day. The next morning, I even checked on him. Was like, "Hey, sorry about that, dude. It happens." But yeah, like I said, the side hack deal, everything. There was, I want to say there was like two or three main events for classes, and a lot of people were disappointed because they couldn't run the 2 rounds plus the main event. Like I said, we had plenty of time. And of course, they had the IROC Schwinn Invitational race that night, which I don't think it should have happened because everybody was exhausted. Everybody was exhausted from earlier during the races, but they went ahead and did it anyways. And of course, I just walked away. I didn't really want to watch the race. Not really interested. And then, of course, all of a sudden, here comes a fire truck. Here comes the ambulance. I didn't even know what was going on. I was actually watching All Things BMX with Justin Tompkins and Elena on Saturday night, and all of a sudden, seeing the fire truck, ambulance, walked over there, checked out what was going on, and during one of the races, Mike Savage actually uh, went down and went down hard. Ooh. Uh, grab the charger real quick. There we go. Cool. That works. Hi, I even charged this computer even before the show, and it still goes dead. Yeah, the ambulance, fire trucks, they showed up. Went to see who it went, and it was Mike Savage, the legendary BMX rider. Mike Savage went down, and they told him not to move. He was out for quite some time. I don't even know when the last time Mike Savage wrecked, but man, like I said, he was out for quite some time. And of course, right after the ambulance left with Mike Savage, All Things BMX calls right after everything's done, and had a great interview with Justin and Elena. Had a great time with them. You know, it's always a pleasure to be on that show. It's always fun to even watch. But like giving them the updates. I didn't say who it was on All Things BMX because like I didn't know what was going on. What's truly going on, but you know, it puts you into a perspective. Like I've had many races where I show up, I'm on my A game, I end up wrecking. Last time I ended up ringing my bell was 3 years ago at Sand Springs. Collapsed, and I was out for more than 10 minutes. The Chinese food delivery. What? No. Like I said, my computer was almost dead, and I had to go and grab the charger. Yeah, like I said, I charged my computer way before the podcast, and it just didn't want to work. But anyways, yeah, like I said, it was not a really good ending to the night, but you know, I was a bit bitter about what happened with Side Hack, and you know, everybody is. Everyone thought that was really cool. I saw videos, I've seen pictures all day today. Man, fantastic pictures. Courtney Meyer, fantastic person at taking pictures. Um, man, yeah, but like I said, a lot of people were upset. Of course, there was an IROC race Sunday morning, which I originally didn't plan for that, but they had a few people that left and didn't really want to be a part of it race. So I stepped in as a legendary red line rider, which all the West Coast guys will know this rider. He might be at Dirty Fest. I don't know. But I got to stand in as Stu Thompson, and got to race those Schwinn Stingrays and a lot of cool stuff. Of course, snapped the gate, and the bars just came back on me. Instead of battling the track, I battled with the handlebars, just trying to maintain those handlebars in one spot. But yeah, again, huge thanks to Guy Cooper, Wanda Cooper for hosting the event. of course, the volunteer base. The volunteer base is where it's all at. A huge shout out to Candace Tucker, Liz Herrera, Jamie Hardwick, and of course, um, the guys that helped build the track. They did a fantastic job. Man, yeah, this year's CoopFest track was fantastic, and it was a fantastic track for the side hacks. It was mainly built for the side hacks. So, of course, afterwards, Sunday, after doing a lot of racing, triple class racing on Saturday, raced the IROC race Sunday morning, loaded up, headed to Sand Springs BMX, and man, had a local race. I needed to get some locals in for the state champ plate, and yeah, that was fun. Got to see a couple of people that was there at Coop Fest. We talked a little bit about it, and just they put on a heck of a race there at Sand Springs each and every time. Like, huge shout out to Ashley Baker, PJ Baker, and all the volunteers based over there. So, but I also got a message, was this couple weeks ago? I was at Sand Springs and I got this message for a really hot topic from one of the guys around the Arkansas, Oklahoma area. And, this, I've been thinking about this question the last couple weeks, but I think this is my take on it. Should you have to pay to join a team? For me, I don't think so. I don't think you have to pay money to join a team. I mean, I understand the team jerseys, I understand the gear. Yeah, that's a given. That's a given. They just don't give you your jersey for free. You have to pay for the jersey, the gear, whatever they have that they require you to have. But to join, you have to pay money to join a team? That doesn't sound right. I mean, I don't know how factor teams really work because I never really got around to the whole factory team kind of thing. I was on one of those teams where if you want to join the team, join the team. Let's have fun, be rowdy, have smiles on your face, and be a good sport about everything. But that kind of got me thinking, why would you pay money to join a team? I mean, like I said, that message came to me a couple weeks ago. I was going to mention something about it. Yeah, they mentioned something about it a couple weeks ago, and that's odd. I've never been on a team where you have to pay money to join it. They usually come up, offer you a spot if you're good enough. If they think you're a perfect fit for that team, for their team. That's what I've always known about joining a team. So yeah, it goes with some of the big teams out here, and yeah, that really fascinated me, like, about that question. Should you have to pay to join a team? Of course, you have to pitch in money for pit spaces if you're going to go to a race. I get that. I get the jerseys, gear, everything. I understand what they offer, but if they don't offer too much, you shouldn't have to pay to join that team. I mean, look at Caveman Racing, one of the teams that I love being around because I was at my lowest in the BMX my BMX racing career. And 20, I want to say it was 2017 Grands. And like, I couldn't get, I was behind every single rider every round. And I couldn't get into the mix. First full year as an intermediate, and I couldn't even make anything happen. And, Phil Davis from K-Man Racing just started his team up and said, "Hey, join my team. We'll have some fun." Ever since then, until 2023, where they disbanded the team, we grew. All we did was ask for the riders to join the team. And all they had to do is pay for their jersey and help pay for the pit space. That was it. And most of the time, the pit spaces at Grands was actually bought by Phil Davis, K-Man himself, for the entire team, which every kid that was on that team had the most fun that they could ever be. Yeah, Messenger. See, I understand that. Like, I understand the expenses, but that's where everybody has to start talking in a group chat or something. Say, hey, I'm bringing this for the team, or like for Grands, we made sure each teammate brought something for the Grands pit, like bananas, donuts. We took charge of that. But some teams don't even do that. They just want money up front. Mhm. Switch. But hey, I understand everything's not cheap now. Everything's going up, groceries going up, gas going up. But whatever happened to just the basic team, just to have fun? I mean, I don't really mind the discounts. I don't really mind making the team look good. I just want to be out there having fun and being the person I am. That's all. That's all I want from the team. Cheer on my teammates, make sure they have a great time racing. That's part of it all. Um, let's see if I get into the comments. Yeah, and of course, outside businesses, they help out too. I mean, K-Man Racing had that too. Of course, my new team, a little bit different, but there's some difference in every team that you come across. I mean, like I said, I've never been on a factory team, so I don't know what's like on the factory team. All I know is they have a lot of fast riders. And yeah, having fun is costs money too. But going past that, if you guys didn't tune into No Holds Bar, I don't go that far, Dan. I might be a good dude, but I don't think you would want me to drive the crazy podcast van with a porta potty 6 attached to the top of the van. Uh, you guys killed me with that that picture earlier, man. But yeah, moving on. If you guys didn't tune into No Holds Bar, you didn't tune into the Music City Nationals, or if you were there, you know what this is all about. Of course, we've been waiting for the return of the legend, the Beast, the Wildebeest, Elise, the Beast, Willoughby, and we've been waiting for her return since she had her son Bo. Of course, she was out there with her parents, her husband Sam, great people, great everything. But of course, she's not returning on a daylight. Shocking. She's returning on a carbon Speedco frame, which that's an interesting choice. So it was really cool to get to see her back in action. And she kind of teased that she's starting her, retiring tour, I guess, as a pro. But, she's been at it for, gosh, close to 20 years as a pro. It feels like it's been that long. But yeah, I mean, she's been at it in the pro class for a long time. She's dominated. She's gotten everything that any BMXer could ever dream of. Oh yeah, I did hear that last night on your show, Rick. Ricky was her personal media photographer. Woo-hoo-hoo. That's awesome. Yeah, Rick, your son is lucky to be around Elise and Sam, being a personal media photographer. Man, two of my favorite pros of all time, Sam Willoughby and Elise Post Willoughby. And when I got into BMX, I started going to my first Grand Nationals. I watched some videos, of course, of the pros because I expected to see some pros. And first video was Sam Willoughby and Elise Post for Redline, which Redline was a big thing back then. There was a lot of kids and riders at my home track that had Redline bikes. I thought it was cool. Of course, I had a Diamondback, but you know, I had what I had so I could race. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Elise returning to the pro scene and taking a third podium, the first race back after a year and a half. That's so awesome. Of course, gotta give it to Peyton Ridenauer. She went down and turn two. Those turns over there in Nashville are slick. I mean, of course, with rain, it's slicker than snot. I don't know if they resurfaced the turns. I know last year they sealed the turns and it became an ice rink on every single turn. But man, the pictures of the ruts that were on the track, and wow, it the race this weekend reminded me of Gold Cup 2017 South Central when it was at Spokes BMX because they had the crushed limestone base and it poured down rain all weekend long. It got to the point where the track was becoming dangerous to anyone riding it. The ruts, the ruts were really bad for the little kids. It it was a disaster. But of course, they had postponed it for the next day. Had two races in one day, which that was exhausting for everybody riding. No practice, no anything. They just went into Sunday's race. And Nashville was kind of the same way with Friday switching, finishing their race on Saturday, and then it just it just became a big pile of racing. I know there was a couple of riders that I usually race here in Arkansas. They were there. Looks like they were having a great time, but like I said, the track, man, destroyed. Ruts everywhere. Yeah, Elise taking 18 months off and then shows up and cooks the women's pro class. That that was more interesting to me because like Rick said last night on the show, like where's all of our women pros? Brooke Crane, um, man, yeah, like where's all of our women pros? Generally, where's all of our pros in general? Like I remember 2015, 2016, there was at least 6 racks of pros, 4 racks of women pros from what I remember. And I don't see that many. And then of course they go and divide it into elite men, elite women, U23, junior men's and women's. Of course, growing the sport's one thing, but like turn it. I've been saying this for a long time. Turn it back to the A pro, and then women pro, vet pro, because it makes more sense that way. I blocked the beer rage. No, I didn't. I didn't block nothing. Hmm. Yeah, 2 races in one day is a pain. Yeah, you'll be tired by in the mains. And of course, yeah, the women's class is struggling. It's really struggling because if you think about it, bring back Dominic Daniels, bring back Brooke Crane, bring back Felicia Stansel, and of course, return of Elise. Line those women up on the gate and see what happens. I'm pretty sure those girls can still go and put down the new up and coming women elite riders. Oh yeah, totally forgot about Brooke being pregnant. But yeah, like you barely see a rack of women pros. Yeah, you have Skittles, you have Laura Reynolds, you have Peyton Ridenauer, which for me, I think she's right up on top where Elise is right before she left. She's I believe she's the next Elise Post because the way that she rides, the way that she's been doing everything, promoting the sport, and of course, just now joining Chase, the first woman to be on the Chase team. I think she's in a great direction. Honestly, do a woman vet pro class. I think that'd be awesome. And I've talked about that before. Bring in the women's pro class. I mean, I know they already have a big lineup of classes. Like I said, U23, futures, elite men and women, junior men and women. Shorten some of those classes up and add that women pro class. 'Cause I think that would be really cool. I know there's a few former women pros that wants to join in on that. I think that'd be really cool. So, you know, with the weather being man, yeah, I don't know. I mean, of course, I watched all of them. I've watched them at Legacy Nationals. I've watched them at Grands. I mean, it's hard to beat some of these women pros that's been in there for a long time. I mean, look at Elise. Elise has been the best women rider in that class for a long time. Of course, one year it was Felicia Stansel for the win. And then, of course, Laura Reynolds. And so it's just, yeah. Peyton does great. Don't get me wrong. Peyton Ridenauer is a great ambassador for the sport in the women pro class. But, you know, when Molly Simpson shows up from Canada saying, hey, it's go time, she just gets off the gate and dude, she's beating everybody. Yeah. I mean, of course, Peyton Ridenauer, even though that Molly Simpson would show up to a race, you know, it's always a learning opportunity to find a way around Molly Simpson. I mean, that's going to be the battle for the next few years between Ridenauer and Simpson. Of course, USA riders, we don't have that many like homegrown USA riders in the pro class. Yeah, of course, we have Cameron Wood, Cameron Larson, Peyton Ridenauer, Skittles. But this goes back to the USA Cycling. If we're not getting our riders prepped for like the Worlds or Olympics, then what's going to happen to our opportunities in the World Championships or Olympics? Our opportunities are going to be really slim. Look at the Olympics last year, or was that Paris 2024? Really slim chance. I don't know about Barry. I haven't really seen too much of him this year. Of course, he has a lot going on, but I don't think Barry's going to let him walk away that easy with that title. I know he's probably out there getting ready to make his move, try to beat Upshaw for the season. But I figured he would be at Nashville. I thought he was at Nashville. But of course, Jeff Upshaw's been racking up win after win after win. And, you know, it's counting. All those wins are counting up into what he for the title at the end of the year. But yeah, like a huge shout out to all those volunteers at Nashville this past weekend. Like, huge shout out because without them, Music City Nationals wouldn't go. Well, it wasn't as smooth, but it wasn't. It was rough, but you know, it was in between. You know, that's part of having a track and running a track is all those volunteers. So, huge shout out to them. I tuned in to Beer Budget last night. Heard one of the guys that were volunteering out there, him and his crew, fantastic job. You know, and of course, there's going to be complaints at any race you go to. And if you don't hear about any complaints, you're not at a track or something must be going right. But complaints for Music City Nationals, keep it to yourself or tell someone your own about the complaints. But when it comes to the volunteer base and the guys that puts on the race, don't complain. When you have a huge reason and everyone's complaining about the same thing, different. Oh, Barry was there. Yeah, I don't blame Barry for not racing, because considering the track conditions and everything else in between. See, Justin Riddle wasn't there either. And of course, Upshaw pulled out of Sunday's race. Yeah, like I said, track conditions wasn't the ideal conditions for racing. I can't blame them. I mean, you can't blame the track volunteers that works their butts off to get ready for the national and then try to make the national happen. Oh gosh, the volunteers do deserve a big warm dinner, at least a good week off of racing, or even thinking about BMX for a week, because they did an amazing job. The only complaint is about porta potties. Come on, Amanda. With Rick Carter in the chat, there's porta potties all over the place with district moms in them. Everybody knows that. Rick Carter, chime in on that. Oh man. But yeah, it takes a village to put on a national. I've been through that myself. I got to go out to Bounce Back Nationals. Mays County is kind of like a second home track to me, and got to go out there, help them. They only had a month to prepare for the national because it was during COVID, the first race after post COVID, which was fantastic. There was a lot of work to be done, and we all did it. We all did it as a team. Got out there. I was out there almost for an entire week, helping prep the track, making sure uh, everything I needed to get done gets done. But man, it takes a village to put a national together, and it was fantastic. You know, but yeah, yeah, man, fantastic weekends for some people. Fantastic, not so great weekend for others. Amanda took 2 wins plus a second on the weekend. Oh, that's awesome. Congrats, Amanda. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's awesome. Heck, I've never even got a national win ever. I've been chasing them down, got seconds, but I can never chase down that first place rider. But yeah, um, of course, some events coming up in the Midwest. Of course, Dirty Fest coming up. I believe it's in next weekend, not this coming weekend, next weekend. Dirty Fest 4. That's gonna be a fun one. If you guys are out in the West Coast, go check it out. Yep, the porta potty live chooses you. Don't ask questions. That's awesome. That's awesome, Amanda. 5 for the season. Oh yeah, Dirty Fest 4 in 2 weeks. That's gonna be fun. I know the Torker boys are excited to be back out there. Gonna dominate the side hat class, um, as they always do. So that's gonna be fun to watch footage from their race out there. Can't wait. of course, we have some events coming up this weekend. Yeah, so 80 vendors. That's huge. That's more than what CoopFest had. So this weekend, Tulsa, Oklahoma, May 29th through the 30th, this Friday and Saturday. The SE Mid South Ride Out. Check it out if you're in the Oklahoma area, Arkansas, Kansas, Texas area. Go out there, check it out. The SE squad's going to be out there. God Squad's going to be the host of that event. If you want more information, go to the SE God Squad for more information. That's going to be fun. Oh, the vendors are more than grands. I'd say, yeah. Yeah, way more than grands. Bentonville Bike Fest coming up here in a few weeks. I think it's in 2 weeks. Bentonville Bike Fest, June 12th through the 14th. There's a lot of cool stuff going on there. A lot of vendors out there. 8 Degree Pedals is going to be one of them. Hyper Bikes, Huffy, USA BMX, NWA BMX. We're going to have a vendor area where like I said, we're going to announce that we're going to have a track soon. But yeah, that event's always fun. Never a dull moment. Of course, Straight Rhythm. There's going to be a Straight Rhythm clinic on Friday afternoon, hosted by the Major Marshall Gurkey. And that's a free clinic. So if, I don't know if there's a limit to it. If you haven't signed up, and if you're going to be there at Bentonville Bike Fest, sign up. That's going to be a fun time. Of course, Straight Rhythm. Straight Rhythm's going to be fun. The announcer of that will be from the West Coast, Al Roybal. And yeah, that's going to be fun. Of course, get to hang out with him again. Hung out with him at Legacy Nationals. Can't wait to hang out with him at Bentonville Bike Fest. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Can't wait for that. Man, and I've been saying this, but we will have a podcast show live from Bentonville Bike Fest, and we might have Al Roybal on the show. You never know. We might pull someone from 8 Degree Pedal to interview. We might pull anyone to interview. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get to do a podcast show at CoopFest this year. I didn't have all the equipment, which was my fault, but that's all right. We got next year. We got a lot of legends coming for next year. Can't wait for the CoopFest 7. So stay tuned for that. No, Daniel, it's not a side hack straight rhythm race. I wish, but hey, I'm bringing my side hack out there. Who cares? You never know. I might step in on the side hack, get on top of the starting hill, and hold on for dear life. I think it'll be fun. Come on, Daniel. I challenge you to a straight rhythm race on side hack here in Bentonville. So, of course, I mentioned this event earlier in the show. Side Hack Showdown Championship, June 27th, Shreveport, Louisiana, Cargo Park BMX. That one's going to be a blast. The pot is up to $400. That's going to be so awesome. I will not be going to Texas for the old school race, unfortunately. I'm kind of limited on what races I can go to as of right now until the end of August because of vacation coming up pretty soon. the overseas show coming up soon. Um, of course, I put the dates for the road show tour. CoopFest was supposed to be stop number one. Unfortunately, we'll have to change that into um, stop number one would be Bentonville Bike Fest, the Side Hacks Showdown in Louisiana on the 27th, and then we get to the overseas shows. The overseas shows, that one's gonna be fun. And of course, Osaka show August 1st, Tokyo show August 10th, and then we take a little bit of a break on the road show. Then we have the NWA Vintage BMX show hosted by us here at the podcast. And then, of course, we're going to have the grand show this year. Of course, all things BMX and Beer Budget will have their big grand show like they usually do. And last year was great to be a part of that show. I hope to be a part of that show this year. We'll just switch out show nights all weekend long. No, unfortunately, I'm not watching any X Games there. I'm just there for vacation, chill. I've been working a lot the last few months, so finally get a chance to chill, not think about work or BMX for a little bit. But hey, we're gonna be doing a show, so I got to think BMX. But yeah, I think that's about much of the stuff. Of course, the show's coming up. We have our show tonight. Going Rogue wasn't on tonight, so they're going to be moving their show to tomorrow night with special guest Rob Drolet at 8 p.m. Check them out. That's going to be a really good show. It's going to be a fantastic show. And of course, all things BMX show on Wednesday night like usual. I don't know if they're going to do show Friday or Saturday night like they usually do. And then you're back to Beer Budget for the Sunday service, which that's a fantastic way to do that stuff, Rick. You guys done a great job with having it on Sundays. I think because you guys got the fresh topics that no one talks about. But anyways, I think that's the end of my notes. Anyone want to chime in on any other cool topics out there? Give it a few more minutes, but yeah, fantastic week at CoopFest. Can't wait for next year. Next year, like I said, we're going to do a side hack series throughout the year, and I'm working on that as we speak, and hopefully I'll get that out, make that big announcement in the next few weeks. Side hacks about to get big in the Midwest. They're big on the West Coast in California. Of course, if you're looking for a side hack, contact my buddy over there, Mike Melvin, with the Hack Shack. He'll get you fixed up. Yeah, I can't wait, man. But anyways, I'm gonna jump off here. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Show number 27. The shows are getting better and better, and it's all thanks to you guys. Of course, just got off work right before the show, raced back home, put this on. It's always a great time. How many? 18 IDEX at at Dirty Fest 4. Holy cow. That's more than the Intergalactic Side Hack Championship. Wow. But anyways, guys, I think I'm going to get off here, but I hope to see you guys next Monday for show number 28. There'll be some hot topics there. Can't wait to see what the weekend brings. Like I said, check out Going Rogue tomorrow night. Interview with Rob Joliet, the Stirring Pot. That's going to be awesome. Yeah. Guess that's about it. So hope to see you guys next week.